Welcome everyone to EFOF Sheikh's session. When I say EFOF, it's Essex Family of Families, and it's a WhatsApp group with all the friends and families in Essex, which we started in April. So when I say we, Raj Singh and I started the EFOF. And as soon as the EFOF has been started, we realized the need for sharing knowledge among ourselves, and that's how Sheikhs was born. Sheikhs was for sharing knowledge, experience, and skills. So this is a short thing about EFOF Sheikhs, and this is the third session we are doing. And this session is about 11 plus in a nutshell. And I welcome now Mr. Raj Singh to give a short intro about Mr. Rajchandar, who is going to do a session on 11 plus.
Thanks, Ramesh. Hello, everyone. I'm Raj Singh. Thanks so much for joining this session. Like you all, I have been so looking forward for this session. I have been given only 2 minutes to introduce Rajchandar, which is barely enough to even scratch the surface of his experience and achievements that he has done. Education-wise, he has done his bachelor's in pharmacy and then went on to do MBA. Career-wise, he has been working in IT for over 20 years. Currently, he works as a test architect in BP. His wife is Kalpana, the main face of Gurukul Academy, to coach and mentor children for the 11 plus journey. Raj and Kalpana, they have 2 children. The elder one has finished A levels last year at KEX. As some of you know, it's a grammar school. And he is currently doing medicine first year. And the younger one is in CCHS, again in a grammar school. Raj is very passionate about always sharing his knowledge and guiding people. He's a person who recognizes others' achievement, how much ever small it is, and goes at lengths to appreciate them. This passion has driven him to support the 11 plus journey, both for the children and the ever anxious parents. He plays amazing badminton and an avid swimmer in his spare time. There's so much to talk about him, but I think I'm actually running out of time. Without further ado, I welcome Rajchandar to present 11 plus in a nutshell. Welcome, Raj.
Sorry, Rajchandar. Very quick one about housekeeping. I'm sorry, I should have done that before. So when the technical glitch there, I forgot to do it. So the housekeeping is about we have muted you all because sometimes the different noises come and it can interrupt the speaker and as well as the entire team. So that's why we muted you all. Any questions, you can keep it in the chat. And then during the presentation as well, if you have any questions, you can keep in the chat. And at the end, we'll answer all the questions. And when the session is over, again, you can raise your hand so that we can see you and unmute you to ask questions, or you can be in the chat. Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Rajchandar. So I'll over to you. Just a minute.
Thanks, Ramesh. Thank you. And thank you so much for the intro, Raj. And first, I would like to thank the organizers of EFOF, Mr. Raj Singh and Dr. Ramesh, for making this wonderful evening, and also having a EFOF Sheikhs, sharing the experiences of many people to the community and make use of experiences. And most importantly, I would like to thank every individual who come here today, because it's always the audience, the participants are the significant. You are the heart and soul of every presentation. Without you, nothing would be possible. So I'd like to thank you all for coming today. So that's it. So let's go on to the topic. And before that, I would like to welcome you all for this wonderful evening with a very good evening. Let's jump into the topic, 11 plus journey in a nutshell. Okay. So whenever I talk about the 11 plus, it always fascinates me. And it fascinates me because I've seen the transformation in my child, how it transformed a boy of 8 years, a normal child going to the state school, into a child who secured more than 10 grammar school entry and 11 nines in GCSE, and moving on to A star in all A-level papers, and secured 4 medical school offer, 3 in London, and finally attaining and going to this Imperial Medicine next week. And it was a fascinating experience. It's not time to talk about my son or my child, But if at all I have to give authentic, authoritative information, where else I could go for? So that's why I was sharing this experience. And not only my son, and I've seen that a lot of my friends is going to Imperial Medicine. I've seen one of my close friend daughters going to Cambridge Medicine, Cambridge Max, London School of Economics, UCL. So I've seen success with so many 11 plus children. We all started the journey 10 years back. And today we all are enjoying the fruits of success. But the seeds were sown exactly 10 years back in this process called 11 plus journey. I always indebted to this 11 plus process. Not forget about all this process. I call it as process because this brings a lot more. So this process sowing the seed of discipline at the very early in the lifestyle. So it means like, discipline of studying every day. So at the age of 8 and 10, the children has to study at least few hours every day. Daily dinacharya has been introduced. And then the likes and dislikes, subordinate the likes and dislikes of for the purpose of goal. You may be wondering, I'm talking something big, not at all. See, when the fellow friends are playing on the ground, the children are sit and study and playing with the maths and English. And when the fellow friends are playing with the PlayStation, the kids are preparing for 11 plus were studying and doing the mock exams. So they know the priority, managing the priority is being taught, injected in very early in the life cycle. Competitiveness. So we all know that the survival of the fittest. So we all have to compete with ourselves at the early, in the 11 plus process. They all taught how to compete without, not only outside, how to compete with our own self. They have to set their own benchmark, moving ahead, improving, self-improvement. It's been taught again and again with this 11 plus process. And most importantly, focus and time management. At the age of 40, even for 45, we find difficult to focus, sit and do something for continuously 1 hour. But I'm sure all you agree, we're preparing for 11 plus. Our children are studying 1 hour, 2 hours in exams in the mocks, focused. And coming to time management, they are talking in seconds. Those who are preparing for SEM, they know that. So they have to do the questions in terms of seconds. So all the time management, life leadership skills, everything has been taught in this process called 11 plus. And most importantly, the right mindset. Okay, so that is the main thing for any individual. I always feel that you are nothing but what you are thinking. So tasting the success at the very early stage, making them to self-belief. You belongs to the better community. You belongs to this world where you manage everything. You deserve to succeed. The born to win attitude coming very early in the life cycle. So these are all just getting during the preparation of process of 11 plus. And I'm sure when we do this, when we all getting the 11 plus, when you're prepared very well, you'll be getting the results. And we all so glad, we are so excited seeing the results of 11 plus, securing the seats of your schools. But trust me, that is just cherry on the cake. They're just the byproduct, because what you get is insignificant compared to what you become. By the time the carbons are transformed into diamond, they're going to glitter. So they're going to shine, because this 11 plus process transformation it makes you is being with them to the rest of the life. So no matter what school you are getting it, but the process gained you a lot more than what you are getting as a just results. So that's the reason I always say that everyone, whatever it is, just prepare, give this few years of your life to this preparation, and that gives the lifetime skills. And with that, they will fly higher and higher. So apart from the grammar school preparations, once you get into the grammar school offers a lot more. And most importantly, the peer group. So one of the most important things they always say is that you tell your friends and we tell about you. And the recent study shows that the car we own, the property we live, and the schools at which our children study, and all our social life, personal life is nothing but the combination of 5 of our close friends. So our friends, our society decides our life, whether we like it or not. So going to the right peer group makes our children to think, having the big dreams. So they call it as peridinum peridike, looking bigger than the biggest, ask for more. So they set the right attitude with a cream of cream peer group. And coming to the grammar schools, every grammar school, they have a lot of monitoring and evaluation. So especially, it's not the schools where you get the report at the end of year, at the end of midterm. So they'll do the unit test. Every week they'll be doing the test, so that you will get the feedback very early stages, whether they are doing good or not, so that you can act on it, acting on time. And also evaluation. So that there are systems which sees, for example, in KEX, they have My Child at School, and you can see every hour what your child is doing. If they do anything wrong and they give negative strike, if they do anything achieved, they give positive strike. Every hour they update, and they, whether they attended the class or not, you have the presence, absence, whether they are late to the school. So you have absolute transparency and absolute seeing what your child is doing at school. So apart from these and always multi-dimensional growth, this is in every schools, not only the academic purpose, it gives every dimensional growth. The Duke of Edinburgh, communication skills, the leadership skills, the music, arts, everything, and the sports, whatnot. So academic is just one part. So because they believe in holistic growth, you will be getting in every direction, growing at what you want. And the discipline in life. This is something more important. I always see the attitude and discipline is much more important than anything else, because that is what is makes you or shakes you. So discipline in life, I don't know whether how many of you would have seen it. If you're gone, one of the complex roundabout is our Kex roundabout. You could see that it's a very complex roundabout, and then a lot of traffic. And I was worrying at the time when the school is very at the junction. But how many of you would have seen that? The one who wearing the either CCHS or Kex schools, they never cross the road when it is red. They always have to wait until it's turned into green, because there are wardens who look into it. If anyone who crosses in red, immediately get detention school. And even when how they behave in a mall, how they begin when they wear uniform, they always say that it's not that you are carrying yourself, you are carrying your school reputation. You have to live up to your potential, you have to live up to your values. So discipline is being inculcated in every moment of the life of preparations. And obviously academic excellence, we don't need to talk about it. It's one of the most successful academic results we have been seeing year after year. This is just, I took it as Kex because I am associated with Kex. I have more information on day-to-day basis. So one thing is GCSE, 85.4% of grades for 7 and 8, 9. People who don't know, earlier they used to have A and A star. And now the system has been changed to 7, 8, 9. So 7 to 8 is considered to be A. 8 to 9 is considered to be A star. And now they have the different grades, 7, 8, 9. So 85% of students getting all the subject either A or A star in GCSE. And looking at A level, 87% getting A star to B, 65% A to A star to A. So the reason I'm sharing this, because once you get into grammar school, you don't need to be in top 10. You don't need to top 50. Even if you're in top 75, okay, so you will be getting that exactly the results what you're looking for. And that's the kind of focus they have. And even the Oxbridge is one of the most people's choices that every year 30 students approximately, not only Kex, or I'm saying this is in general applicable to all the grammar school, most of the grammar school or otherwise. I'm taking Kex as an example. So most of the school, whether it could be CCHS or Colchester Grammar, Westcliff or South, and everywhere the results here and there a little bit change, but it's more or less same. So 30 students in Oxbridge means like every 1 in 5 children. So approximately there are 152 students. So 30 students you take. So 1 in 5 students going to Oxbridge. And 75% of students going to Russell Group. Russell Group means, I don't know, those who don't know, that's one of the, again, next level, next to Oxbridge, highest reputed institution like Imperial, UCL, London School of Economics, and lot more. King's, lot more. You can name it. You have all other great institutions in UK belongs to Russell Group of University, and 75% of students every year going from the schools to the reputed university, and you studied exactly what you want in your own reputed institutions. So to summarize, it's not that you don't, even once if you get into grammar school, you don't need to be in top league. Okay, so even if you are in top 50%, still your success of getting what you want is highly, highly possible. Okay, so just I was explaining about this grammar school, why and what, because I'm passionate about it. That process make a lot of differences, and our role will be just facilitators. So once you're getting into grammar school, you'll be a facilitator, moderator. The rest schools will take care. Okay, so coming to this examination, so we see that CSSE, CEM, GL. So in Essex, okay, that we have CSSE examination. So we have totally 8 schools in Essex, and each have 1 boys, 1 girls, like Colchester's, Kex, Westcliff, Southend. So we have both boys and girls. Only CCHS took SEM, the rest all comes under CSSE. So writing 1 exams give entry for the 7 school, or basically 4 schools if you're a boy and 3 schools if you're a girl. And the CCHS is coming with SEM examination. And similarly, you have the other examinations like SEM, Center for Evaluation and Monitoring. And again, the other popular board is GL assessments. So these are the most common board of examination. which are available for the grammar school entry. And if you're looking at CSSE, and as I mentioned that, the KEX, CRGS, the Colchester Royal Grammar, Westcliff, Southend, and these are coming with this exam. So most of the time, not most of the time, all the time, the content of the examination is exactly the same. They focus more on English in terms of comprehension, verbal reasoning or applied reasoning, and then you have the creative writing, which is a short creative writing in general. And then with respect to maths, you have a complete in-depth, they analyze and they validate knowledge, and they go with individual topics like algebra, probability, ratio, proportions, and whatnot. Okay. So the standard of filtering criteria or the papers are keeping go higher and higher because the amount of preparation, the student standard is setting the bar higher and higher. So the intensity of the standard of the papers also is going high. So in order to secure high score, so it's always good to go with some preparation with a private school paper as well, because we have been seeing year after year, and especially in the last 4-5 years, the papers 4-5 questions intentionally they set it to the very high standard, so that they can clearly discriminate the high standard with available students. And the type of the questions which you're answering, we call it as long answer questions, because the other SEM and GL is all multiple choice question. You have the list of 5 choices or 4 choices where you could choose the right answer. But in this case of CSSC, it's only a long answer question you have to write. And even if it's a maths, you have to work out and you have to write the answers back. And coming to SEM, in Chelmsford, the CCHS, the girls' school, is following this pattern. Apart from that, the Redbridge County, Ilford County, Woodford County is SEM exams. And again, the Bexley in near Kent is following the same pattern. And here, again, if you're looking at it, the content are more or less same. So it means like everything is focusing on numeracy and literacy, it means like English and maths, but the kind of formatting and is slightly different. With SEM, they're also introducing something called non-verbal reasoning to validate your logical thinking. And also it gives more value in terms of equalizing the chances for every children who are non-English, means like that mother tongue is not English. So basically, they will be having a little bit of different format, and they have close, shuffled sentences, synonyms, antonyms, and as I mentioned, multiple choice question. Everything is a multiple choice question. The complexity, I could say, is a little bit less, but adding the speed make it more complex, because you have to answer the questions in seconds. You have to answer 15 questions of comprehension, including reading time, in 15 minutes approximately. So it will have very tight timeline. And you have 47 questions of nonverbal sometimes in 15, 17 minutes. Average, you will get 20 seconds. It's really the speed is more important. You have to be accurate as well as you have to be on the speed. So that needs a lot more rigorous practice. You have to really be on tip of the toe and give absolute focus. You can't turn around the head. That will lose few seconds. So that's what I was talking earlier, the time management. The kids are trained to do this. So then they know how to be focused. And coming to GL, and the North London, we have Entita Barnet, QE. These are the 2 top schools again in the league tables for the grammar school. And again, the Latimer in Wanstead and the Kent. They all follow GL now. And again, these are just guidelines, because sometimes the schools keep changing. Last year, for example, Entita Barnet was using SEM, and then they changed it to GL. Next year, they may be changing to something else. So what board of exams? So we need to look into the school's website and see what board they are using it. But if you're looking SEM and GL, they're more or less same, especially you have the non-verbal element. But for CSSE, you don't have non-verbal element. But creative writing is not there in SEM exams, but you have it in CSSE. And in Kent, you have the creative writing, but the weightage is given only when you have, when 2 students are sharing the same score. Then only they will validate the creative writing to make sure to whom to offer the seats. Otherwise, they don't give validity for the creative writing. The quick few stats regarding CSSE, because year after year, the number of students of writing is keep increasing with the amount of competition you have on CSSE. But the reason I'm showing the stats not to scare you, but to make easy. Because if you're looking, it was 2010, it was around 3,000, and then it is going up to 5,500 students. And then last 3 years, might be because of pandemic, it may go up again. It's slightly come down, but on an average, it was 5,500 students who are writing every year with CSSE exams. But because most of the time, the students cry. I've seen personally, when you look at the big crowd, big line queue on the schools, the children get scared. Some children cry, oh, I have to compete with so many kids. But trust me, it is not you're competing with 5,000 or 6,000. So looking at the result status, okay, you can see that 2,500 on an average is getting less than 300. So the real competition is between this two columns, because a lot of people write, but are they everyone prepared equally? We don't know. But the real competition is between, I could say that 3,000, and you have approximately 1,200 seats. Assume you have 150 seats with each schools, and you have 8 schools in CSSE alone, or even if you exclude the CCHS, you have 1,050 seats minimum. Some schools have 180, some schools have 150. There are different quota system. The very minimum, you have 1,050 seats in 3 Southend, Westcliff, and Colchester and Chelmsford. So with the 3,000 seats, you are competing for 1,150 seats. So it's more or less, you will be like 1 in 3 or 1 in 2. The probability of out of 2 or 3 children, 1 children get the placement. But when you look at the actual stats, it will show like, 1 in 7, 1 in 10 are getting. So don't need to be panicked. If you prepared, your results are guaranteed. No matter, you don't need to look at the stats. You don't need to worry to how is it too hard? Not at all. Keep one thing, keep practicing, keep focusing on it. The preparations makes the results. So these are the statistics. I got it from this, this site, and I was validated to it more or like right. And this is just for the guidance. And again, the disclaimer, this is received from the other website, but I validated to some extent. So there is something called catchment in every area. So every schools have the catchment area except Colchester in this CSSE or Essex area. And Ilford County, Woodford County are also having catchment. Latimer is having catchment. Even Henrietta Barnett last time introduced catchment. So it means like they have this priority area. It's normally 12.5 miles or 13 miles. And they specify which postcode you have to live in to qualify for this catchment score. So the catchment scores are a little bit less so that it gives more chances for the child to get into the schools. And also they have the open catchment, means like there are students who can compete even though they're out of catchment, but they have to qualify, get that score. For example, Colchester, there are schools who call it as a all selective. They don't consider the catchment at all. So all you need to do is just write it, and they'll just, based on the marks, they'll allocate it. So for Colchester girls, it's last year, the minimum which went in offer day was 332. And for the boys, it was 342. And Kex always have a bit of higher side, because I think it's not based on anything else. It's definitely a good score, but a school. But apart from that, because of the geographic location, it is more commutable for the parents to reach London. So most of the parents prefer to change Chelmsford, so they prefer Kex. So that keeps their demand is a bit higher. So the 345 is the inside catchment score, and 375 is the outside catchment. Again, other things, Westcliff, Southend, or 303 is inside, and then the outside is like this. So you can see that 344, 353 for Westcliff, 330 around is for the Southend. So again, I'm telling you, if you prepare consistently, and achieving these scores are easy. It's absolutely possible. Okay. And next, I would like to discuss a bit more on resources in depth. When I'm talking resources in depth, you could see how deep it is. I'm not going to read everything, because if I read, probably you all can sleep. Maybe the session would be going for 2 hours. So it is, you have loads and loads of resources. 10 years back, when I was studying, when we were preparing for my son, Rahul, and it's like we all have to search. What is the, we used to discuss with friends. Do you have find anything? Do you have for this English? Do you have anything else? For the maths, do you have anything else? But now it's, you have huge lists. In Tamil, they say that what to choose, what to lose. You will be confused. So you have extraordinary, the plethora of resources. And now it's more important to choose the right resources. That's where we play a vital role. Means like I'm continuously, almost like I get every resources, see every resources, how this can be combined and how it can be extracted, because it's absolutely no way possible for all the resources for any child looking at 60, 70 books to complete in 1 year time. This is something, or 2 years time. So don't get confused, but you can choose more or less. If you could follow 3 or 4 providers, you are covered. So still the list goes on. So I will also share these slides anyway. So for those who are interested to want to know the complete list of books, I'm happy to share and send the complete PDF format, and also all the slides contents will be shared. So don't worry. So to summarize, okay, so as I told you, like if you list all the 70 or 80 books, it will be coming in only the 4 or 5 category. For the first and foremost is Bond. And this is one of the most reputed and kind of quality books we have been seeing from 10 years. So the Bond gives more variety. So it's give the exposure to different types of question. It equips the children to get versatility in terms of what they are learning. And the next one we believe is Schofield and Sims. And again, they are pioneers. They have been getting, and every time they're, because it's getting more and more books, and we can recommend what you can read or what you can choose from Schofield and Sims, what you can choose from Bond, and what really produce results with our own kids and based on the past experiences with other kids. I will definitely recommend the books from these. Again, the other popular or reputed provider is CGP, and you have the 10 minutes test and a lot more with CGP nowadays. And the other one is Let's again, you have everything. And the First Passport, this is one of the quality provider I have seen in the recent past, and you could get a lot more good books from this provider as well. And the AE publications, this is another one which mainly concentrate on STEM. So they are very popular in Slav area, and it is very useful for CEM preparation side. That's it. So the resources I've shared, I will be sharing the content in details with everyone. And the next thing is when to start. Okay, this is one of the most important question. I could say it's $1 million question. When to start? Okay, I am the strong believer of time. So basically, time is everything. Normally they say that well begun is off done, but I always say that begin well ahead is fully done. If you start early, you don't need to worry anything at all. What to start, when to start, to me, wherever you are, start today, not even tomorrow, because that ease out your pressure. So you have time. And I'm saying that it's not the 11 plus preparations, you're preparing them for secondary. It is not you're teaching anything specific to the 11 plus. You're teaching maths and English or foundations, which all they're going to carry to the rest of the life in the secondary and then to the subsequent uni. So start early, get the foundation stronger, and makes your life comfortable. So we always recommend coming to 11 plus side of orientation. So year 3 is the most ideal because there you have the fresh clay and we can mold it. We can do the fermentation. We can do everything what is needed of setting it correctly and with all the literacy and numeracy skills. And then in terms of addition, subtractions, and whatever the numeracy skills they needed. And most importantly, we encourage them for reading, because one of the most complex thing or most common question coming from parents, how do we improve on English? So the children finding difficult comprehension, difficult to understand the sentences. The one and only way is reading. So introduce reading at the very early stage, motivate them. What to read is secondary. So a lot of us trying to make children to read what we want. We say that read this book, read that book. No, first the habit of reading has to be inculcated. Once they get the habit, what to read is automatically comes. So the ideal way to start for the 11 plus, I always say year 3 is the best. So you have absolute control. You can put the very strong foundation, and to my knowledge, it never go wrong. If not, it's not too late. Year 4 is always good. Like you have a time, you have catch up. Again, you have to build a strong foundation in terms of everything. And in terms of English, you have spelling, punctuations, and grammar. And in terms of comprehension, again, you teach the skills and techniques and making them to read more and more, because you have a lot of time in year 3 and year 4. Children can spend more time in terms of reading. But because when you go to year 5, you have a lot more things to cover in terms of specific to the curriculum. It's difficult. You will have to have enough time for reading. So reading, you can inculcate or motivate to do it at very early stages. If not year 3, year 4, make use of the time for reading. And for coming to maths, timetables, because when the foundations are strong, building on top is very easy. So again, year 4 is maths, timetables, and English tag comprehension, and then focus on reading. And then year 5 is absolutely is all about once put the foundation and then put the pillars and everything and doing the exterior. It's all about doing the exterior and designing and then making it more nice and neat. So building the knowledge in depth, because some of the things already they learned in year 4, but we have to be revise and making them stronger in terms of foundation and make use of the time available. So start early again in year 4, year 5, and then strengthening the core skills in terms of both English and maths. And then you have to keep practicing it is a final ring of the ladder. So you have to really absolutely prepare and know your exam, know the strategy, what is your strength, what is your weakness, work on your weaknesses and stabilize your strength, and make use of the time using the past papers. In CSSE, if CSSE, we have roughly 20 years of papers. If not, I would recommend at least last 10 years of papers will be very useful to understand how the evolve, how the transformation of examination patterns have been going through. And even again, GL model. As I told you today, it's not a challenge. Getting the resource, getting the mock papers, and it's absolutely, you have to choose the right. That is the challenging. Getting it is, finding it is not a challenge. Finding the right resource is a challenging. Finding the right mock is a challenge. How much to do is the challenging. And that's what we try to help based on my experiences. I always try to share my knowledge and experiences, what the best for the child, how much you could do in terms of mark, how much you can do in terms of past papers, how when to start your marks and all those things. And practices makes perfect. So do more practices in year 5, and then absolutely you are ready for the exams. And trust me again, 11 plus is not a rocket science. It's all about planning and execution and making them things on time. Okay. The next, how to approach, because 11 plus is a long journey. It is, as I told you, when I say year 3, it may easy to say make your child to sit at year 3 and keep the momentum up to year 5. It's not easy. No child will you maintain the momentum for long. But most important bit, the positive approach. So the positive approach is not the one of the approach. I will say this is the only approach which will help our children, because no one can achieve more than what they believe. The power of the man is in the power of the mind. So make them positive, make them believe that they can do better. So bring the confidence in them, make the self-belief, self-image higher and higher. It's not we want them to do it. They should believe that they should do it. And that is the success as a parent. We have to bring the very positive self-image in them. When they feel that they belong to different community, they belong to achieve more things in life. We don't need to push, and they will push. The motivation comes from within. So be positive. I always say that never ever say the children, you're weak in maths, you're weak in English. You always say that you are good in English, you can do even more better, because maths is nothing but the numbers. English is nothing but alphabets. It's all about you can get the mastery over the period of time if you want to get into it. All you want it, you want to the mastery, that has to go into the mind. So the moment you inculcate, you've thrown into that thought into the mind, they will get it done. Just the practice, that's it. And one simple formula for success. This I always feel that there is only one simple formula for achieving success, not only here, anywhere, wherever you want. And that is CDSIE. Consistent, directed, self-motivated, intelligent efforts. So consistency is the key. They always say that how to eat elephant. There is only one way to eat elephant, a bite at a time. So make a small increment, but be consistent. Do things little, but do it consistently. Every little on day-to-day basis bring the phenomenal, humongous success. Consistency is top secret. And you have to do the things in the right direction. If you have to go on north side, and if you're going on the south or opposite, it will never take you where you want. So go in the right direction and keep checking, are you doing everything right? And then motivation. When it comes to motivation, I said it is not the motivation, it's a self-motivation, because when the motivation you depend others, not sure how long you will get it. You have to self-motivate it. The first 5 minutes of the slides I give only for your self-motivation. You know what value you bring it to your children, what value that 11 plus preparation is going to transformation in your life, in your children's life. That will give the motivation. So once you are self-motivated, give the intelligence. What's going wrong? When you're doing preparation, don't go blindly. You see the results. You see when the children is making the mistake, as a parent, we see where they're going wrong. How can I improve? What different approach can I make it? That intelligence will make it. But out of 4, out of 5, if all the 4 is not there, it's okay to some extent. But the efforts, the most important ingredient of success is efforts. We are nothing but our actions. We are whatever we are today, it's because of our actions. So every effort towards your success, what you're doing. So make sure you're doing what you're thinking. So doing this will make sure you will get a phenomenal success. I'm sure this is quite a bit challenging, but it's not really difficult or impossible task. Okay, coming to the final, almost final slides, like tips and tricks. Okay, so one of the most important tips I always suggest is planning. As I told you, it's like a big piece of elephant. You need to eat it. So, but you need to eat bite at a time. Which bite when? That planning is needed. People always say that no one planned to fail, but we fail because we don't plan. So the failure is, if at all we fail, it is not the inability of the skill. It is the inability to plan at the right time. Every children is different. So someone will be learning on the second time, someone will be learning on fourth time, or someone will be learning on nth time. So what is needed as a parent, we need to know and then plan accordingly. So have a planner, otherwise it's very difficult. So if, even from the year 4, year 3, okay, you have they call it as management by objective, MBO technique, where you want to go, what you want to achieve, and from there reverse engineering. So from here I have to do this many books I have to finish in 8 months, and then put it down. And now we are introducing the planner, which gives on weekly basis what you need to do to achieve everything what you need to cover for 11 plus, and small and incremental. It is something doing everything on every day. We are the strong believers of daily discipline called dinacharya. That's why we introduce daily vocabulary. Do 5 letters, 5 words, 10 words every day. If you're learning 5 to 10 words every day, in a year you'll be learning at least 3,000 words or 1,500 words. That will give a phenomenal difference. But the consistency, the small will always motivate us to do it repeatedly, and do that incrementally and repeatedly. This is one of the questions normally people ask, how much time we normally need to study for the 11 plus. It again differ from people to people. There is no one size fit to all. But again, don't think you are preparing for 11 plus. If I say 2 to 3 hours, oh, is it 2 to 3 hours I need to study for 11 plus? No, 2 to 3 hours of preparation to put your child better in the secondary education. Whatever the time you're spending, your children spending now, it's not just for 11 plus, it is for them to succeed in their secondary education. The knowledge they carry, the wings they develop, which will make them to fly higher and higher and beyond. And the most importantly, especially when you're coming to year 5, don't look into this in year 3 or year 4, because year 3, year 4 is all about building the basics, foundation, strengthening every aspect of education or every aspect of life. But know your exam is more about in year 5, whether you're going for GL, whether you're going for SEM, CSSE, what is the examination. I'm planning to have another session on know your exam to detail talk on what is in every exam, how to approach it, because that is one of the strategy you should make. How much marks coming from each section? How do I crack it? Know your child. As I told you, it's very important, not one size fit for all. Every child is unique. And I may have the BMW, some may have Ferrari, some may have Premier Bergmani, whatever it is. If I have to reach the destination, if I know what I have, then if I plan accordingly, I can reach. For some children, 1 year preparation good enough. For some children, 2 years preparation is needed. Someone, it may be 3 years. But if you prepare for 3 years, I can guarantee every child can get into 11 plus. It's not just get into 11 plus. You can make them what they needed for the secondary educations. And they'll be absolutely spot on in terms of what is required in terms of every discipline of education life. And again, this is again on year 5, analyze your results. Most of the time we have to validate our results. When things are going right, fine, it's going right. What more I can do, which direction I can go. Identifying the strength is important. Same time, when these results are not going right, understand where I'm going wrong, why it is, and always think most of the time we fail on understanding the actual problem. We may think that the child is weak, the child is not doing, no, they are not prepared enough, or maybe sometimes some of the areas, it's not the entire max they are weak. Some of the basics you need to go through, you need to strengthen it. That will make the phenomenal success. Think why. There is a management says that ask 5 why or 7 whys. That will give exactly what the problem is. So identify the problem, you almost solve the problem. Repetition is the mother of learning. So most often we say that kids tend to forget. It is not kids, even we tend to forget. Everyone forget is the biggest blessings. So the only way to remember is repetition. So some of the things like, even how many of us remember our wife's phone number? Because we never use it. So, but whereas we used to remember some of the old phone numbers we're used to dial, because every time we recall, repeatedly we remember it. So repetition is the only way to get success. No shortcut. Learning and teaching more than the testing. coming to this part, in today's world, I see that especially in year five, people are a lot of institutions, they are doing more and more testing. Every day, the children goes and they test and give the papers. And coming in January, February, they start mocks. But mere testing will take you nowhere. So assume that I have the cholesterol. I go to the one lab and they're showing that it's you have a cholesterol, and going to the other lab and showing the cholesterol again. It no way reduce my cholesterol. It no way reduce change the reports. So if I have to reduce or change the reports, I have to work on it. So teaching is what making a changes in the children's life, not the mere testing. Testing is important. I'm not saying testing is not enough important. Testing is important, but the moment you test it, don't keep on testing. I've seen people who are doing mocks on Saturdays, mocks on Sunday, mock on Saturday morning, and mocks on Saturday evening. So no way, absolutely, it will makes you better. Even I know a lot of people who know this. When you fail a driving exam, you can't allow to take another driving exam for 2 weeks, because you need to learn something so that you can go back and do better. So doing repeated testing will no way help. Spend more time in teaching and learning, so that way you can overcome your weaknesses. So work on basics. So again, this is one of the most important thing. Most of the time we fail not because we don't know the very complex things. We know basics, but we fail to follow the basics. I remember whenever the Brazil loses the football, the coach says that in the next day, this is the football. It's not that they don't know this is the football. They don't know, understand. They don't follow some of the basics which they know. We would have seen many times, in the cricket, they follow the footwork is poor, the shot selection is poor. It's not that they don't know. They didn't apply the knowledge what they have. So always work on the basics, recap, revise, and reinstate the basics to them, and that will help them to succeed. And also like use of tools, charts, that posters, all these things will really help them to remember few things easily. And most importantly, don't forget the breaks. So we always work harder and harder and harder, and not understanding the significance of breaks. And finally, I would like to say a few words about the Gurukul. And so we started Gurukul Forum because we feel that knowledge is power. So we want this power to spread across to all the parents to empower on 11 plus. Most of the time, the parents not successful because not that they don't want to do it, because they don't know what to do it, when to do it, and lack of awareness, lack of understanding on what to do, when to do, how to do, and really put them off. And one of my friends says that the place where we are living, not having much grammar schools, I never knew that until I come to year five. If at all, I know that by year three, I could have done something better. So we thought, okay, some knowledge sharing will make a real differences. So we started this 11 plus Gurukul Forum, and which intentionally, and we give a plethora of resources. We like whatever you want it on 11 plus, ask us, we will provide. And then a free regular coaching classes, because we get as 11 plus passionate people. So we always feel that we have to give something back to them. And some of the areas we are very well known. So we're giving back in terms of free classes so that people get benefited. And also, like sometimes it's in the busy schedule, we may tend to forget when the registration starts, when the CAP form to submit, and when the registration closes, when the examination dates. So we share everything, and also the guidance on CAP common application form. So for submitting to the secondary schools, and some, because these are the things as a parent, when we are seeking the guidance, we don't find anything. So what we didn't get when we are doing, we decided to give back as part what we have gained over the period of time. So we do the programs on guidance on CAF, what schools to put, how to fill, what is the priority, is that priority making any differences, selection, the sequences, what they're putting in CAF form, will that make any differences, what school they should select based on the score, we could guide what are the possible scores they can get, and those things. And most importantly, we are the fraternity, we want to help each other, develop a friendly, positive, developing a stress-free 11 plus community. Because this is one of the things which I commonly see, the stress, amount of stress the parents face it. At the end, it's not for 11 plus, you are giving the best education, best preparation for your children, for making them to prepare for the secondary, and let us do it happily. So as part of the 11 plus Gurukul, when we are doing, we also started the 11 plus Gurukul Academy. In fact, even I thought, why do we need another academy when we have so many institutions already in the market? But we have the dream, one place to serve all, because people have to run for different things to different places. And then for every information, not everyone is providing. It's something like, they're getting bits and pieces everywhere. And as 11 plus Gurukul Academy, we thought try to find the best. If not, be the one. So we try to fit whatever we find the gaps are, whatever the things are not exist, let us give to this and make a difference in terms of 11 plus preparations. So 11 plus Gurukul Academy, we believe in holistic growth. So holistic growth means it's not just teaching English and maths. We have to make the children to enjoy what they are learning, have the positive approach towards the subjects. They should believe that they are good in that. And then communication, confidence, and every dimensional aspect, every dimensions of the children has to be grown. The positivity, the happiness, everything need to be redefined. And I'm the big believer of self-belief. As I told you, you cannot achieve anything more than what you believe. So the child should believe, yes, I am the product of grammar school. Yes, I can get it. I will make it. So that self-belief has to injected into the every cells of the children. And with that belief, they can make humongous success. And we always believe that daily discipline is the most important, so that we always focus on daily discipline, daily planner, daily vocabulary, everything we focus on daily basis. As I mentioned, we do all this. And most importantly, let us make this 11 plus happily successful, because we do so many things to be success. We're all looking forward to succeed, to be happy. But there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way to succeed. So do everything out of happiness, everything out of pleasure. When you do with happiness, you do it more. When you do it more, you will be good at it. So we always make sure the child and the parents enjoying the journey. The journey to picnic should be as enjoyable as picnic itself. So they should enjoy not only the cherry of the cake, the results of that 11 plus, they also should enjoy the whole journey, because it's a divine process which transforms your child from the primary into the secondary, building the wings. With that, they can fly higher and higher. So Gurukul gets you knowing, and to say summarize, Gurukul Academy makes you, gets you doing. I think that's it. We've come to the end of the session. Sorry, I think I may be running like a continuous engine. It may be a noise-making engine, talking continuous, not interacting with you all. But I understand I would really love to interact, but it is, if you make it an interactive session, it will take a lot more time. So we thought of keeping all your questions at the end. And now it's time for you, over to you. You can ask any questions. I will try to answer as much as I can based on my experiences and knowledge. Thank you. Over to you, Ramesh.
Raj, can you please take the screen share so that you can come in the picture, please?
Sure.
Right. What can I say? That was an amazing presentation. That's a very, very short way of representing amazing. I'm not doing justice if I stop with amazing presentation, wonderful, lovely, beautiful, excellent. There are so many words, fabulous, fantabulous. It goes on and on and on. And I need to do some exams to pick some words and then give it. That's a fantastic session. With lots of information, and it's not only information, it's in abundance, and all are useful, excellent information to be pursued for as a parents and who are all listening to this one. I can say one thing. Say in olden stories, there is a king and minister story. There's a minister called Tenali. There's a one question, you will always play a trick. Like you will look at the elephant, and then the trick is to put the elephant in the pot. But Rajchandar has put the 11 plus elephant in the pot, not even in the pot, in a nutshell, and then given all possible points, right from why to do grammar school, everything he has done it. So thanks a million for a very valuable session, Raj. And before
Thank you, Ramesh.
before moving on to Q&A, see, doing the 11 plus, he has also sneakily tested all the husbands in this audience as well, like to remember my wife's phone number. So I don't know what Gurukul is there to remember all those things. I don't know. So we'll move on to Q&A. I will request Raj Singh to help Mr. Rajchandar to go with the questions.
Thanks, Ramesh. Rajchandar, there has been a few questions that are coming up in the chat. I would request people to actually put their questions in the chat, or you can raise your hands as well. But we'll actually start from the questions in chat. So I think the first question is from Aria. Sorry, I may be saying the name wrong. So it's We want to know if there are any private schools as good as grammar schools in terms of leavers destination that don't have the catchment problem.
I don't recommend any particular private school, but always there are private schools around every area. So we have private schools in our area as well. In Chelmsford, we have the private schools in the Ilford area as well. And private schools are also doing good in terms of academic and all those things. And yeah, so the but only thing is like even the private schools have the entrance test normally, so you have to get up to the, it's not just they take it as it is, so you get into private school as well, you have to write the entrance test, but it will be like the benchmark will be maybe a little bit less. But if you can clear the private school and if you could give little bit extra, I could say that if you are getting, for example, 60% in private school for the benchmark, you have to get 75% for grammar school. I really wish if you could little bit push and you can get, and that will save a lot of money, and you will get almost as good as equal education in terms of every dimensions with the grammar schools. As a parent, we know the value of every penny we spend. So if you're affordable, yes, the private schools are alternate approach, alternate choice, and you can keep it as a backup as well. So, but again, the preparation is needed even for the private school. So you prepare for the grammar school and keep, if you really think you can afford private school, you write the grammar schools, and also then you can apply to private school, keep it as a backup. And if you really need for any reason, then you can go for it.
If Gurukul does, one-to-one sessions for the students.
Unfortunately, because of the bandwidth, see, as I told you, like we are more passionate towards what we are doing. We do everything. We try to always focus on giving more rather than earning more. So we don't do one-to-one because of the bandwidth. So we try to have small batches, but we try to have as minimal as we can to give the quality. But unfortunately, to answer one-to-one, we don't do it. But anytime, as I told you, like as 11 plus Gurukul forum, I always happy to support whatever the question, whatever the guidance they are looking for, and whatever the best possible way, I'm happy to support one-to-one in terms of queries and guidance.
So how do we join these forums is one of the questions.
Yeah, so I will publish the link for that in our EFOF group, and so that people can join this. And also we are very open, we are very, what you can say that bi-directional. So any improvements, any suggestions, we always welcome. So the purpose of running the 11 plus Gurukul is for the parents. Is anything parents feel that I really want it to be more interactive, you ask for it. Wherever we have the bandwidth, we will do it. And if needed, we'll have more sessions, more like weekly sessions. I'm aiming to have more free sessions this year to support, to help our 11 plus forum. So I will give you the link probably after this session tomorrow to a group, and also I will share to whoever wanted. They can PM me directly, and also it's available on our EFOF WhatsApp groups and other groups.
Thanks, Raj. She wants to know, is there a syllabus for 11 plus exams? I couldn't find anything online.
Sure. So the thing is like, it's very, very, whenever you go anywhere, they say that key stage 2 syllabus. But what is key stage 2 syllabus is, again, it's a big question mark. But to be summarized, I can send you the syllabus in terms of maths, what all they'll be looking for. There are 17 chapters approximately they cover in maths. And then when it comes to English, they say that literacy, comprehension, and there is no boundary for it. So yes, there is a broader guideline. There is no narrow guidance, but the broader guidance. But I can guide you exactly what is need to be done based on our experiences.
Thanks, Raj. Next question is from Ria Menden. Worksheet that the kids are now solving covers all 3 patterns of CSSE, SEM, GL.
Maybe she will be talking about Gurukul, okay. Gurukul Academy worksheets. So one thing is like now, it is something personal to Gurukul Academy. I can take it offline, but to say simply, and we cover everything. So it means like this worksheets will be covering all required boards, to say all 3 boards.
Okay. There's also another question along with that. In SEM, they have 20 seconds to answer each question. How much time?
Yeah, this is something I need to reiterate. This is not 20 seconds for all the questions. So only for non-verbal is 20 seconds. Approximately, you'll have 30 seconds for each questions.
Okay. Thanks, Raj.
And every section in SEM, they'll give the time. Say, for example, if you have comprehension, before the comprehension, they say, what is the time for that? So every section is timed section. So you have to do on that time is applicable only for that particular section. And that examination facilitators will take care of it.
Thank you. Next question is from Swati. Is there any negative marking for CSSE exam?
Absolutely not. So that's what we always encourage our children. If not, if it is a multiple choice, if not, please mark something because no negative marking. And even for CSSE, it's difficult because it's a free long answers. It's a free writing, so you have to write. And even if you write it wrong, you don't have negative.
All right. Thanks, Raj. Next one is a question from Priyanka. Are there scores data for CCHs like CSSE? And also, she wants data like catchment scores, top scores, etc. Similar to what you shared for CSSE.
Sure. CC, I could say that this is the broad guidelines or based on my experiences. For the CCHS, the out of catchment in general, I'm saying this is the broader guidelines. It change from year to year. It may go up, it may go down based on that current year of performances and the peer group, how they're doing it. And on an average, I could say that don't take this as whole heart means like don't set this is a target. I'm saying this is something is happening I've seen in the past, but always aim for more. Okay. But to answer it, 107 is a kind of score which always gets in with CCHS in catchment. 115 or 116 is the out of catchment who gets in. This is I'm saying absolute borderline. Okay, sometime or not 8 it may go 118 or sometime it may go 114 plus or minus 2 will always fluctuate based on the current year of performance.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining the 11 Plus in a nutshell. See you all in the next EF of 6 sessions. Thank you. Thank you very much.